And welcome back once again to Capital Tonight. The death of a Buffalo area teenager has renewed discussions over cyberbullying and what can be done to stop it. 14-year-old Jamie Rodemeyer took his own life after what his family called years of harassment by classmates. Now police are investigating whether criminal charges might be filed against any of these alleged bullies. And some lawmakers would like to see tougher anti-bullying laws on the books to assist them. Senator Jeff Klein has introduced legislation aimed at fighting what's known as cyberbullying. He's joining me now from New York City to explain. Senator, it is good to see you.
Good to see you, Liz.
Actually, I don't know if you've done it, but someone's coined a term. It's known as bullycide. Could you explain what that is?
Yeah, actually, bullycide is intentionally causing someone to commit suicide by constant harassing and horrible things that are put out over the internet. And I think the reason why I introduced the legislation and the report that we put together last week was really to call attention to the problem and make it a crime. You know, Liz, it's unfortunate, but I don't think we can tell our kids any longer to turn the other cheek, that sticks and stones may break their bones, but words will not harm them, because I think, as we saw in Jamie's case, words can kill.
Well, 30 states have some sort of law at this point that addresses this issue, but there's already laws on the book that say that it is illegal to cause another person to take his or her life. And so why is this necessarily needed? It's clearly already a crime.
Well, it's a two-pronged approach. Presently, our stalking laws are silent as far as cyberbullying is concerned. So now cyberbullying will be considered under my legislation stalking in the third degree. And then if you in turn commit stalking in the third degree by cyberbullying and you intentionally cause someone to commit suicide, you'll be guilty of manslaughter, which will be a Class C felony, which could be punishable up to 15 years in jail.
Yeah, there are some experts who are concerned that they take the approach of, teenagers, teenagers will be teenagers, if you will. I mean, yes, they do terrible things to one another. They torment each other. Particularly, girls can be particularly hurtful, although boys are equally culpable. I guess they often get to the physical, but still, I mean, isn't the idea that you might criminalize regular teenage behavior, no matter how terrible it might be?
Well, I don't think that's the case, and I've passed a lot of criminal justice legislation, over my career, and we hope when we pass laws they have they have a chilling effect, that people know that they'll be punished to the fullest, and they don't do it. But I think my law is very narrowly tailored to really punish the most egregious cases. I think the best way to give you an example would be, let's say that someone is continuously bullied, cyberbullied over a number of years. The school district finds out about it. They have a sit-down with the parents, the bully, as well as the victim, and the person expresses that, hey, this is making my life miserable. I don't eat, I don't sleep. I'm going to take my own life. The meeting ends, and the bullying continues. That's the intentional crime that I'm talking about under my legislation. So it is narrowly tailored, but I think it's narrowly tailored to punish, as I said, the most horrible, egregious cases. And, some of them are horrible. I mean, I had this young woman who joined me last week when we introduced the legislation, Jamie Isaacs from Suffolk County. This was a young girl that was bullied for 8 years. The kids in her school started a website, the I Hate Jamie Club, where they had 15, 20, 100 kids. She was tormented each and every day.
But Senator, I'm not saying, forgive me for interrupting you, I'm not saying that this isn't a serious issue, and it really is. But in my day, and it makes me sound like I'm 100, but people had notebooks filled with hate-filled rhetoric that they passed around, and everybody added something. They called them slam books. I don't know if you remember these. I mean, it's been going on for a long time. Isn't it the responsibility of the school to nip it in the bud before it even gets to a point?
Well, I think, Liz, first of all, I think the schoolyard bully of yesteryear is now the present-day cyberbully of the digital age. And I think, in the past, when you had a schoolyard confrontation, you had a fight, it ended, sometimes you became friends or not. But now it continues with taunts and horrible rhetoric that goes over the internet. Most of the time it's anonymous, and it continues through Twitter and Facebook and text messaging. And I think we have to deal with this very differently than we did in the past. And by the way, I'm a fan of education on this issue. I think we need to take a two-pronged approach. And as you know, this year, the Dignity for All Students Act is going to come into effect, which is going to train school districts and teachers and really deal with the problem and educate But I think when the time comes and someone commits a horrible act and causes someone to commit suicide, I think they have to be punished to the fullest. And I think that's why, by criminalizing it, I think we're going to help with the problem as well.
Okay, but by criminalizing it, and we're talking sometimes about children who are quite young, teenagers who are on the low end, if you will, of the teenage spectrum. You know, the Chief Judge, Jonathan Lippman, has this measure that he would like kids who are non-violent, and cyberbullying is terrible, but it's not a gun, it's not an act of violence. He wants them all dealt with in family court. Do you agree with that?
Well, again, I mean, we have to take, you know, our criminal statutes on a case-by-case basis. And the purpose of me introducing this legislation is giving prosecutors another tool, a tool in the war on cyberbullying. So, you know, we'll take things on a case-by-case basis, which I've always done. But, you know, getting back to what you said earlier, Liz, I passed a piece of legislation 2 years ago which was signed into law, which makes it a felony to desecrate or vandalize a house of worship. There were those who said the same thing. You know, these are kids, it's pranks. That's nonsense. You know, once we criminalize something, I think it does have a chilling effect, and I think kids will act accordingly and won't be committing these crimes. So that's why I think it's important. The criminal element is important in really fighting this horrible crime as well.
So to that end, and right before we run out of time here, I want to ask you about something else, which I think that you believe is a step in the right direction. It's an issue that you have been working on. Today we're seeing that Four Loko, which you and I have discussed on this show, is that large beverage that tastes like fruit but has an enormous amount of alcohol in it. It used to have caffeine. Thanks to you and some efforts by others, it does not anymore. It will now be telling people exactly how much alcohol right on the label is on that huge can. The issue is binge drinking. It's not perfect, of course, but you think that this exposure is a good thing.
Absolutely. You know, when the FDA comes out and criticizes a product, that's very serious. And what they did say is that you know, a 23-ounce can of Four Loko, which contains 12% alcohol, is the equivalent of almost 5 beers drinking it at one sitting. They said it's binge drinking. So I think this is, an important first step. But I don't think we're out of the woods yet, because I think one of the things that I want to make sure is that we keep this product out of the hands of minors. To say that there's adults drinking this stuff, I think, is nonsense. Four Loko is intentionally marketing this towards our young people, and our young people are the ones who are going to have a detrimental impact unless we get this product out of the hands of minors, and that's my intent, and that's what I'm going to push for in this upcoming legislative session.
Okay, well, we will actually be seeing you soon in Albany. Until then, I hope that you are well. We will see you.
Thank you, Liz.